Well, good afternoon. How's everyone doing? It's a pleasure to be with you today. Now, the East, you can do better than that, right? Huh? What's the East? I don't know, East. Come on. It's truly an honor to be before you. Bread for the world. I grew up in a small town of Snow Hill, North Carolina. And in Snow Hill, we grew up and didn't think twice. It was at a time where the family often gave its heart and soul to agriculture, working on the farm. And I grew up cropping tobacco. Anybody out there? I'm just curious, ever worked out in tobacco fields? Anybody? Oh, wow, I thought more hands would have been up on that one. But we grew up working tobacco, did plenty of things out on the farm. And just truly, agriculture has, over the years, had an enormous impact on my life. But let me share this story with you, if I may. I remember the days I was raised by my grandmother. And my mother, at the time I was born, was still young. My grandmother cut a deal with my mother. And she said, you have to go to school, talking about the college, because you have a child now. I'll take care of him, but you have to go to school. And my mom went on to go to Bennett College in North Carolina. And she graduated with a math degree. And meanwhile, we grew up in really a lower to mid-class family. But I remember the days that my grandmother, and I didn't understand it at the time, but she would ask me, baby, have you had enough to eat? And I didn't think about it. There were times that I would say, no, I still want more. And I would see my grandmother literally take food off her plate to give it to me. And to think that we in this country can go from grandmother cutting food off of her plate to give it to her grandbaby, to just give him a shot to that grandchild, eventually going on to be elected to Congress and serving as the vice-ranking member of the Agriculture Committee. Now, in a position not only to make sure that kids can eat, but all people across this nation can eat. And yes, we need to make sure we continue to support our kids through our nutrition program. That's important. That's huge. So I'm delighted to be before you today. And as I come, I want to hit on some topics that's been shared with me. In particular, when we talk about black and brown farmers. Nearly 100 years ago, hear what I'm about to say. There were 1 million black farmers. 1 million. Now, fast forward it, barely over 100 years later, that number is about 50,000. 50,000. My friends, Brad, we're heading in the wrong direction here. We're heading in the wrong direction. And let me share with you that we must do everything possible to continue to embrace all farmers, all growers, all workers within agriculture. And I think that's important now more than ever. So what I've done, been in the 1st Congressional District of North Carolina, been on ag. We know this is an important year with the Farm Bill. And I set out early in my term to go out talking to farmers across the district. I represent 19 counties in North Carolina, the largest geographically drawn congressional district in the state, 19 counties. And we covered much of the counties, talking, to listen, to hear the concerns. And we listened and heard from many of the farmers in the agriculture community. I heard the concerns about crop insurance, heard the concerns about regulations, heard the concerns about high pricing. Many of the concerns. And then, at the end of the week, it was important to me to hear specifically from my black and brown farmers. And let me share with you some of those concerns. I know our secretary was here, and we'll continue to lift up the secretary. Let's lift up the secretary. Let's give him another hand today. And I believe his presence today is huge, Brent, because what I have heard, and that I will share with the secretary, is there are still concerns amongst black farmers with the Department of Agriculture. I mean, this is the message. This is the message that must be delivered. There are concerns about justice in the department. And I have to take that to heart because we have to listen first and really try to understand. Many shared their concerns with being left out of the process. Many shared their concerns with, as money has come out, have been left with the crumbs. I'm just sharing with you what constituents have shared with me. Moving from there was an expression of concerns with land loss, obviously access to credit. Heard specifically from black farmers concerns too with burdensome regulations. That it seemed like sometimes it was just tough to get through. There was a need for more networking opportunities and mentorship. These are things and concerns that were shared directly with me. Hours upon hours listening and talking to farmers. What I would go on to convey, that we're committed to making sure we get it right here. The Farm Bill is huge. We deal with it every 5 years. And this is a year that the Farm Bill is before us. Depending on how you look at it, how the calculations, we're talking about a product that is over right at $500 million, right at $500 million. There's a lot that's riding, that's on the line. And it's important for you to be here. It's important for the voices of the American people that you're advocating for to be heard. So I want to thank you above all things for being here. Here are some things, and we have friends who are also champions out there. Some things to consider, to think about. One, establishing a Civil Rights Commission within the Department of Agriculture. Two, do serious work around land loss, first protecting those who are still farming. And then going back, to look at those who have lost land. 3, when we're thinking the concept of how do we bring young people into agriculture, let me share with you, not only is agriculture national security, but I've added to that as I've been out talking to young people across the 1st Congressional District. See, I'm in rural North Carolina, which reflects rural America, and I'm sure some in here know what I'm talking about. My congressional district alone, 17 of 19 counties lost population. So you say, Congressman, what's going on? I went talking to young people across these counties, was in a room with nearly 100 young people, young minds, bright people. And I asked, how many of you plan to stay in eastern North Carolina? My friends, about 4 hands went up. We're losing young people, especially in rural areas across our nation at alarming rates. People in my district, they head to Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, or Charlotte. Because why? I wanted to know the answer to that question, so I asked the question, why? And this is what they told me. Because they did not see real opportunities for them in eastern North Carolina. And I'm saying that to say, not only is agriculture national security, but if you look at the age of farmers, the average age of farmers today, if we do not invest in young farmers, young people to come into this profession, then we will be seriously hampered in the future. And I believe young people, engaging young people as we've never before, is critical. That's why when you think in the concept of what are things we should do, a farm conservation corps, bringing young people and exposing them to agriculture. And yes, we need to continue to engage with our HBCUs and above all, our nonprofits, our black farmers, and bring all those into this conversation. That's hugely important. And making technical assistance available. There are real things that we must continue to do that I believe will make us only better and stronger. My friends, thank you for your advocacy. And just know, it's because of you. It's because of you. What you're going to do, what you're going to say. The farm bill is big. It's huge. There's nutrition, and that's important. That's a big part. But it is so many things. It's broadband. It's senior citizens, housing. One of the things that I actually, when the secretary was up as a witness in the committee, maybe a month or so ago, we have the urgent repair program, which is capped. It's for senior citizens. But look at that cap as it compares to inflation today. There's all kinds of things that we need to be a strong voice for. Thank you for being here in Washington, D.C. No matter where you come from, we appreciate it. Let your voices be heard, and I look forward to what comes out of this, because this will only make us stronger and make us better and make our country the place it should be for all people. Thank you, and God bless you, Brad.